Okay, good evening, everyone. Council just met in closed session. I'll now look to the Deputy Clerk to provide a report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, Council met in closed session pursuant to Municipal Act exemptions to receive an update on a staffing matter and provide confidential staff direction. Council also adopted previous closed session minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now ask everyone to please stand for the national anthem. We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples, acknowledging the One Bowl and Spoon Treaty. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? So I have an interest in correspondence item C086 from the Wainfleet Skating Club, as the request was made by a relative of mine. So I'll ask the Deputy Mayor Van Fleet to chair the discussion on that item. Please note that these meeting proceedings are being broadcast live, recorded, and made available through the Township website and YouTube.com. Public consultation for our multi-year accessibility plan is being held in the arena on March 25th from 12:30 to 3:30 and from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you are unable to attend, please consider completing our survey. It's available on our website, and printed copies are at the back of council chambers. Our next regular meeting of council is Tuesday, April 8th at 6:30 p.m. The annual drainage open house is Thursday, April 10th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. Regional Council meets this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. and the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority meets Friday at 10 a.m. Are there any announcements or remarks from the members of council? Seeing none, okay. We're going to move into the adoption of previous council minutes. I have a motion that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held February 25th, 2025 be adopted as circulated. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor McCullen, Councillor Van Fleet, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we're going to moving into the public meeting. So zoning bylaw amendment file number Z01 2025W. In accordance with the Planning Act, a public meeting is held to present information regarding the proposed amendment to the public and for council to receive comments from the public. Staff will not make a recommendation and council will not make a decision on the proposed amendment at this evening's public meeting. A planning report will be brought forward by staff and considered by council at a later date. As a member of the public, you are welcome to request to be notified of any future meetings respecting the proposed amendment. Please provide your contact information on the sign-in sheet located at the back of council chambers. Please be advised that the sign-in information will form part of the public record for this application. I will now ask the planner to provide details on the purpose of the proposed amendment and any written comments received.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the subject lands are located on the south side of Lakeshore Road between Golf Course Road and Ellsworth Road South, and known municipally as 11031 Lakeshore Road. The subject lands are approximately 0.15 hectares in size and currently contains a single detached dwelling and accessory buildings. The subject lands are designated as rural lands in the Niagara Official Plan, Lakeshore Residential, Environmental Conservation Area, and Hazard Lands in the Township's Official Plan, and zoned residential Lakeshore C10 with a hazard overlay in Zoning Bylaw 034/2014. So the application proposes to rezone the subject lands from the current RLS C10 zone to a site-specific RLS C10-47 zone to permit the construction of a new single detached dwelling and a new accessory building, being a detached garage. which requires the following lot and structure requirements. So setting a maximum overall lot coverage of 22%, a minimum interior side yard on the western side setback for a single detached dwelling of 0.9 meters, a minimum interior side yard east setback for an accessory building of 0.5 meters, and a maximum accessory building height of 7 meters. The existing hazard overlay on the property will be maintained. In accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act, a notice of public meeting was mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject lands, and a public notice board was posted on the property. The application materials were also posted on the township's website and circulated to agencies and departments for review and comment. As of today, the following comments have been received. So Enbridge Gas noted no objection, but that they reserve the right to amend or remove development conditions. The region of Niagara noted no objection, subject to the implementation of a 5-meter buffer strip adjacent to the existing shore wall and a revised restoration plan. The Township Building Department noted that a comprehensive review will take place at the building permit stage and identified several technical matters that will have to be addressed through that permit submission. The Bylaw Department noted no concerns. The Drainage Department noted that the subject lands are not assessed to municipal drain and therefore had no concerns or comments. The Operations Department noted that an entrance permit and road occupancy permit would be required to relocate the existing driveway and culvert, and that on-street parking for construction equipment is not permitted. We did receive one public comment from Bonnie Folkens of 11025 Lakeshore Road, who indicated their support for the application.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Does any member of council have any questions regarding this proposed amendment? Councilor McClellan?
Just one question. The proposed garage that's detached from the house at the far end, there's no plans or no way that that can turn into another residence? It's beyond doing that on the site?
Well, I can't comment on that specifically. Our zoning bylaw does allow for a secondary suite, so an accessory dwelling unit, which could be within that detached garage. It's my understanding the applicant doesn't have immediate plans for that to occur, but it's permitted as of right in our bylaw, subject to certain provisions being met and subject to servicing. So I can't say that it's not a possibility. It will just depend on the size and scope and whether it can be serviced through the septic system.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, thank you so far. Having said that then, is the septic beds designed to take another living residence there now before it goes in? Because you're never going to get it right the second time around.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So I don't have that level of detail on the septic design. It's not my area of expertise. So I can confer with the building department on that. But the applicant did provide a preliminary septic design. However, we need additional details about the number of plumbing fixtures and bedrooms and that sort of thing. So we're satisfied that a septic system could go in. We'll just need to review the math when a permit comes in.
I understand that, but the more bedrooms you put in, the bigger the septic gas you get. The other part of that, and I'm not questioning you, it's the whole system here, but the from the garage to the first septic tank, you're probably 35 meters. You got to pump that to get it up into that tank, right? So it should be designed right the first time, or just put on there, you can't do it, one or the other, right? So, yeah, if you're looking at doing it, spend the money up front, get it right, and then we don't have this argument, or somebody else, the next council, afterwards, oh, well, give me a special permission because I didn't do it right. So, that's all.
Any other comments from members of council? Councilor Anderson?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Love the two pictures on the design there. It's quite charming. I just have a question actually about the existing driveway, which is culverted. So when they do a new driveway that's a new culvert, and this is just for my own information, do they have to remove that existing culvert as of now, or is that left in there as to facilitate like drainage down that length of the property? Because obviously that's the function of that culvert. Like, would that stay there to aid in drainage across the front of that property?
Through your worship, if they're going to relocate the driveway, that culvert will be removed and a new one installed, and then that'll be restored. That area will be restored to open ditch again.
So it would be without metal culverting, and it would become just ditch flow? Oh, okay. Thank you. Richard?
Any other comments from members of council? Seeing none, does the applicant wish to provide any comments regarding their application?
On. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the council. I'm Randy Charlton, applicant. My wife, Wendy, is with us today. I just wanted to present myself here and thank staff for the consideration of the application so far, specifically Sarah for putting up with me so far. I ask her a lot of questions, and she's great at answering them. But I'm here to answer questions of council if you have any.
Any members of council have any questions or comments?
I've
for the
asked my
applicant?
questions, right, so.
No?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, is there anyone in the gallery that also wishes to provide comment on the proposed amendment? Seeing none? Okay, seeing no further comments, I will now ask the planner to review the next steps.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, did you ask the gallery for comment? Okay, sorry. So a planning report regarding a complete review of the application will be brought forward by staff and considered at a council meeting at a later date. If you wish to be notified of the decision of council, please fill in the sign-in sheet at the back of the room. I do have one note regarding appeals. So Bill 185, the Cutting Red Tape to Build More Homes Act of 2024, was given royal assent in June of 2024, and that restricts third-party appeals. The Planning Act, Section 34, subsection 19, now states that the applicant, a specified person, a public body, the registered owner of the land to which the bylaw applies, and the minister may appeal the decision of council to the Ontario Land Tribunal, provided that they made oral submissions at a public meeting or written submissions to council before a decision is made. Parties other than those listed above are no longer eligible to file appeals for this application.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. So that concludes the public meeting for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. If you wish to be notified of the decision of council regarding the proposed application, you must make a written request to the clerk of the township. Moving into delegations, we have no delegations this evening. We're going to move into the consent agenda. So we do have several items on the consent agenda this evening. ASR 5/2025, respecting the request for proclamation. ASR 6/2025, respecting the 2024 building and septic permit fees annual report. DSR 3/2025, respecting the annual drainage program update. PWSR 7/2025, respecting the memorandum of understanding with the NPCA, and memorandum respecting the 2025 tree program. Are there any items that council wishes to be removed from the consent agenda for discussion? Councilor McClellan.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull PWSR 7007/2025, RE the memorandum of understanding with the NPCA for the council agenda so that it can be deferred to our next regular council meeting.
Okay, just to confirm, there's no other items that want to be pulled? Councilor Anderson?
Yes, through you, Mayor. Could we also pull the, how's that phrased? I believe the memo on trees.
Yeah, we can. Just give me a second here with the clerk. Flag is the start. That one. Okay, got it. And then we'll go back. Okay, all right. Okay, so then I have a motion that the following items be received and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. ASR 5/2025, respecting the request for proclamation. ASR 6/2025, respecting the 2024 building and septic permit fees annual report. DSR 3/2025, respecting the annual drainage program update. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor Van Fleet, Councilor McClellan, any discussion on on those items? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. All right. Okay, so we're going to move into staff reports and recommendations. ASR 6, 2025, respecting the 2024 year-end results report. Mr. Hart, could you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. This evening, I have the 2024 year-end results report for information as well as some recommendations. The report outlines that the township is expecting to have an operating surplus of approximately $862,000, which is primarily the result of one-time sales of capital assets, which are not budgeted for. These sales accounted for approximately $580,000 of the surplus. The year-end surplus is very close to the previously reported surplus in the Q3 reporting of $820,000. Additionally, the township is reporting a capital surplus of approximately $2.7 million, which is primarily the result of the cancellation of PW3, Reeves Bay Shore Wall Protection, which was grant funded and was not approved. Additionally, the projects PW1 Large Culverts and Drain Works and PW2 Road Rehab both came in under budget. It is important to note that these surpluses do not represent a levy or taxation surplus. All levy funds budgeted and collected through taxes were utilized to fund capital assets in this fiscal year. Finally, the township is expecting reserve and reserve fund balances of approximately $7 million, which is approximately $1.2 million higher than prior year and is the result of the previous mentioned surpluses. The increase in the reserves enhances the township's ability to fund future infrastructure projects, manage unforeseen expenditures, and mitigate potential economic downturns. Overall, the township and its staff were able to effectively carry out the 2024 budget, effectively staying within financial targets and completing capital projects in a timely manner. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. So I have a motion that the administrative staff report ASR 7, 2025, respecting the 2024 year-end results report be received and that the recommended transfers to and from reserves as outlined below be approved and that a reserve for bylaw and council be created to be able to allocate surplus in the current fiscal year to be used as a source of funding in future years. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor McClellan? Councilor Anderson? Any discussion? Councilor McClellan, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So it's really great that we saved some money, and I know most of it came from the shoreline job. But from what I'm seeing in the field, there's not a lot of work out right now. This might be the year to put a couple of jobs out, see what the prices are like. If the prices are cheap or cheaper than last year, let's throw another job out there. Richard, maybe you got to talk to the engineers, see what's out there, get one out. If the prices are good, maybe it's time we get a bargain, right? And that's just my thoughts on it, right? The money's there. Let's use it up, and especially if we're getting good prices.
CAO, you have a comment?
So through the mayor to all of council, so if Councillor McClellan would like to make a motion for staff direction in order for Richard to maybe explore some different pricing for different options and bring back to council some options, then we could certainly do that. But again, we're outside of budget, so budget's already been approved, so this would be an out-of-budget approval that would require reserve funding.
Councilor McClellan, would you like to make a motion?
So I will make that motion that staff look at what's out there.
Okay.
Talk to the consultants that you need to. Let's see what the prices are coming in like, and if the prices are down from last year, let's take advantage of that if we can.
Okay. And, we get a second? Oh, my apologies. Okay, before getting into that, I will call the question on the 2024 year-end results. All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Okay, so now moving into your motion, we just need a seconder, and we can open for discussion. Councilor Anderson, any discussion? Seeing none? Oh, Councilor Anderson?
Never gets that easy.
Thank you for that suggestion, John. I would maybe forward to Richard that and you know this better than we do up here even, if there's a couple of easier dues, smaller budget items like in our numerous lineup of bridges to fix or something, that would be a focus for me. I don't know if the rest of council, I think that could be a lesser than bigger job and be a little more sort of fiscally responsible. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Mr. Nan, you got a comment?
Through your worship, yes, thank you for the confidence in moving forward with some additional projects. We are in the process of finalizing, we have 2 tenders currently out for the large culverts, and that'll give us an indication on some of the pricing, which is good. We are just finalizing the tender for our road resurfacing, and again, based on what we'll find on the tender openings, we may be able to suggest in that report, once the tender is awarded, that we increase some additional roads. Because as we're all aware, this year's been a very hard winter on our roads, and we've noticed this spring that some of them have deteriorated a little bit further than what we had originally anticipated. So we definitely have work out there that we can add to the projects if the pricing comes in.
Thank you. Councilor Wainfleet, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. That was going to be my suggestion because the roads are brutal. Like, no fault of the township, but it was a brutal winter, and the thaw's not even coming out yet, so the frost. So it's going to get worse before it gets better. So, yeah.
Councilor Anderson?
So through you, Mayor, do you see mitigating the roads issue with hot mix fill or actually doing a roads section?
Through your worship, I'm anticipating there's a few roads that we've noticed this year that have very large stretches of deterioration. So we may even be proposing to add sections of road complete resurfacing and pulverizing those sections. Rather than just doing piecemeal, we may actually go after longer stretches of road and doing full segments rather than piecemealing it. But we do have a very large list started of patches as well this year.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we're going to move into Public Works staff reports. PWSR 6/2025, respecting the equipment rental rates for 2025. Mr. Nan, can you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. This report is our annual equipment rental list. Contractors are invited to submit a price for equipment rentals used by various departments throughout the year at a bid price. Equipment is utilized on an as-needed basis, and staff will consult the list for the lowest available piece of equipment that meets the needs of specific projects. I'm available for questions at this time.
Thank you. So I have a motion that Public Works Staff Report PWSR 6/2025 respecting equipment rental rates for 2025 be received, and that council accept the attached equipment rental for the use of contract equipment for the period beginning April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2026. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor McCullen, Councilor Anderson. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, moving into PWSR 7/2025, respecting the Memorandum of Understanding with the NPCA. Mr. Nan, can you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. I believe he asked to have it deferred to the next meeting in his motion.
Yeah, John is, Councilor McCullen did ask to have it pulled. We're just going to let you give your
Okay.
2 cents before I will ask Councilor McCullen if he wishes to make a motion.
Thank you, Your Worship, and sorry for the confusion. This report is to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the NPCA. In 2021, the township approved a letter of support to apply for a grant under the 2 Billion Trees program. The township has worked collaboratively with the NPCA last year, and we planted 652 potted trees and shrubs on 2 of our properties, namely the east end of the sports complex and the Oakwood Cemetery. This project was performed without a formal agreement. and a formal agreement was being developed to outline a format to continue this type of service as well as many other non-monetary services that the NPCA offers. And this will only be utilized at the township's request and approval. This agreement is a non-obligatory agreement, but sets out an understanding of procedures and roles when a service is requested by the township or the NPCA if required in future. I'm available for questions at this time.
Thank you. So now I'll ask that. Councilor McClellan, I believe you wish to make a motion.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a motion that PWSR 007/2025, our memorandum of understanding with the MPCA be deferred until April 8th, 2025 at the next regular council meeting. I'd like full council here for it, so. Well,
Understandable.
then we might defer it again if you're not here. That's all right.
Do we have a seconder? Councilor Anderson, any other discussion on it? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All in favor? Oh, yeah, no discussion on deferral, sorry. So, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Councilor McClellan, go ahead.
One quick question.
Yeah.
This is to Mr. Mayor. This isn't holding up anything by us deferring this for a month or 3 weeks?
Through your worship, no, this is just basically, this was this letter of memorandum of understanding was actually in preparations over a year ago, and I made sure that our legal staff reviewed it prior to it coming forward. But it doesn't stop anything. If we're going to enter into any agreements with them, it'll be on a case-by-case basis rather than having a memorandum of understanding for you know.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we
Various
wasn't holding
services.
up any work by doing this, but, okay, we're good. We're good.
All right, so we are going now to PWSR 8/2025, respecting the arena dehumidifier replacements. Once again, Mr. Nan, can you please provide a brief overview of your report? Big night for you.
Thank you, Your Worship. The second report is for the replacement of 2 dehumidifiers in the arena, which is used to control the moisture and reduce the potential fogging within the arena during ice operations. Staff utilized the procurement process and secured quotes that are not currently subject to any increase due to tariffs. Staff received 2 bids for the replacement of the 2 dehumidifiers, and staff's recommendation is contained within the report. I'm available for questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Nan. So I have a motion that Public Works Staff Report PWSR 8/2025 respecting the arena dehumidifier replacements be received, and that council direct the manager of operations to award the purchase of the dehumidifiers to the lowest bidder, Black & McDonald, ensuring the final purchase price is not subject to increase due to tariffs. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor McClellan? Councilor Van Fleet? Any discussion? Councilor Van Fleet, go ahead.
Just a quick question, Richard. How, is there going to be downtime for the arena, or is this going to be done during the summer months?
Through your worship, the plan is to have this completed prior to ice operations.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions, discussion? Seeing none, call a question. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, moving on to PWSR 9/2025, respecting the grader replacement. Once again, Mr. Nan, can you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Thank you, Your Worship. This report refers to the replacement of a 2009 grader. It was refurbished in 2020 and extended the life at that time, but it's now reached its life expectancy. Staff reached out to suppliers again utilizing the canoe procurement and requested a quote with a list of specifications. Only one supplier met all the specifications to provide a grader for our operational needs. As such, only one supplier submitted a bid, which is included in the report. The supplier has also agreed, and the company has also agreed, to hold the price as quoted and will not be subject to any potential cost increases if the contract is signed by the 21st of March.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nan. So I have a motion that Public Works Staff Report PWSR 9/2025 respecting the grader replacement be received, and that council direct the manager of operations to engage Brandt Tractor for the purchase of a new John Deere 870 GP grader with plow and wing for the specified canoe procurement quote. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor McClellan? Councilor Anderson? Any discussion? Councilor Anderson, go ahead.
Just an inquiry. What do we do with the other existing grader?
Through your worship, the plan is to sell it or trade it in, depending on where I get the best value. Unfortunately, this year is a very busy year because the winter was so bad, we could actually use 2 graders, but it doesn't justify keeping it for the amount of hours we use for the second grader.
I might continue. Is that grader in a position to, or would the people supplying the new grader, is it in a position to be a trade-in against possibility?
Through your worship, we have been talking with them prior to going to GovDeals, and they're interested in actually getting it back because it's in the body work that we did have done in 2020, makes it look really good.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Councilor McClellan, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Maybe we look at Richie's auction and see what's going, because right now, the next auction coming up is all going to be Americans, and it's 49 cents in the dollar, so it's like buying it for a half a buck for them. So you might want to look at that.
All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, moving on to memorandum respecting the tree planting and free tree giveaway. Mr. Nan, can you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Thank you, Your Worship. Where am I? My computer didn't start when I got here, so. This memo provides information on this year's tree program. The plan this year is to provide a free tree giveaway. We've managed to secure 300 one-gallon trees, and the giveaway will be held on April 19th from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. Staff will provide a drive-through service with residents providing identification showing residency in the township and the choice of tree, and staff will then give them their tree selection. Up to 2 trees are available per resident. This will take place until quantities last. The property that was mentioned in the original memo that was considered for the Trees for All program has been delayed for a year due to funding.
Thank you, Mr. Nan. Councilor Anderson, you wish to have this item pulled. Do you wish to make a motion?
Yes, but I'd like to preamble. I'd like to suggest that possibly staff could look at turning the tree foundation money that was given to the municipality in regards to trees that were cut down, and that basically I'd like staff to sort of come back with some sort of report about leaving the principal on that as a legacy dollar, and that we do what numbers of our neighbors have done, and that is take what seems to be non-taxed revenue and turning the interest earned on that revenue, didn't cost the taxpayers a dime, it was laid over to us, and taking the interest on that legacy dollar and spending interest only on programs and outputs of tree planting, et cetera, and also limiting that spending of interest-only money on public municipal lands only. So my, I guess, request is that staff could come back with some sort of format of if and how that would be worded and possible.
Mr. Hart?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Absolutely, we can look into that, and we can transfer any interest earned in the year to the reserve, and we can use that money only for funding the projects.
Go ahead, Councilor Anderson.
If I might continue, not to be cheeky, but it would be nice if the money that came as a result of tree cutting stayed within that sort of realm of ecological, sort of environmental tree cutting. However, having said that, I would also like to ask staff to consider the fact that in emergent or non-fundable activities, that we could in fact pull that principle and use that as sort of crisis intervention funds. Don't want to do that, but you know, push came to shove, we might be looking for $500,000 for something. I see people wondering what I'm talking about. So I'd like the principal to be a legacy, that we spend its interest. We have neighbors that do the same thing. However, I'm not sure that I want to tie that dollar up so completely that it becomes unavailable to the township. I know that's convoluted.
Yes, so through the mayor to all of council and Councilor Anderson, so we can certainly take that as staff direction, and we can allocate, like, it'll be a manual allocation because we have one bank account. So we will allocate an estimated amount of interest per year into that tree reserve. However, it's the same as any reserve, like the council of the day, next term, or 2 terms, or 3 terms, could decide they only want 3 reserves, and they could combine all of the reserves that we currently have. So we can certainly set out what your wishes are and your expectations are. But again, we're bound by the decisions of the next council and the next council. So we can certainly do that. However, as it stands, it's for tree reserve, and that's what it was set up for. So we would have to bring it back before council before we propose something that said, we're going to spend the tree, we're going to pull from the tree reserve to plow the roads or to pave this road. That's not what that was set up for. That's not what it's intended for. So it would require a vote of council.
Councillor McCollum, go ahead.
Mayor, if I think I understood what Councilor Anderson was, where she was going with the last part is, God forbid we have a big storm, we lose part of Lakeshore Road. It's $500,000 to fix it, that council doesn't have of the day. Then, by all means, take that reserve and fix it. Or if we would have a bridge collapse, or suddenly somebody comes in and says, you can't use the bridge anymore, it has to get fixed. Through no fault of our own or council's own, that they let it get to that point so they could get that money. But if it was, I understand it. If there was an emergency, I think that's where you're going. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way you were talking, I kind of took it that way.
Madam CEO.
So through the mayor to all of council, so I understand the extreme circumstances that you guys are putting yourselves in. However, we do have like 1.3, maybe, Cam, correct me if I'm wrong. We do have over $1 million in our rate stabilization. So likely we would not be pulling from that tree reserve in the event of an emergency. However, we would bring a report back to council suggesting how we were going to fund anything if there was an emergency, and it would be before council for you guys to deliberate on.
And it doesn't take long to eat up $1 million in today's world. And so if you eat your whole rate stabilization, then what do you do next year if there's another storm, right? So that's all my thoughts on it. I don't know if I'm good.
Okay, Councilor McCollum, do you want to second the motion from Councilor Anderson?
Can I still comment?
Yep.
So further to the comment, I'll try to be succinct. I just like the bulk of that money as it sits in today's dollar to be a legacy, and that interest earned, and it's neither nor to me where you shuffle that interest to. As long as the finance department tags it, they know that one year there was 28,000 interest, another year there was 12,000 interest, and that money becomes fiscally, on your advice, available to council to do public, municipal, tree, property events. And I'll reiterate again, public, municipal, property, tree events.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. So, Councilor McCollum, you will second
I will
the motion?
second that, yes.
Any other further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we're going to move into review of correspondence. We have 2 items of correspondence on the agenda for consideration this evening. Item A is correspondence item C084, respecting the Niagara Community Foundation proclamation request. Does any member of council wish to make a motion? Councilor Anderson? Okay.
Did you hear that? I had my button off, sorry. I will make the motion that we carry forward on the Community Foundation proclamation request.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Can I get a seconder? Councilor McCollum, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, moving into correspondence item C086, respecting the Wainfleet Skating Club advertising request. Councilor Van Fleet, I'll pass the chair to you at this time as I have a conflict.
Sure. Does any member of council wish to make a motion? Okay. Okay, go up there. Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
You need a motion to get this going?
Let's see.
Yep. I'll make the motion.
Okay. Discussion? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I figured that. Any discussion, a dollar amount, a size amount? It looks like they've already put in a whole entire page for 2025, so. Oh, there. Joan seconded. So, yeah. I would make a motion that we do a full page ad.
I'll second that.
Yeah, we'll just do a friendly amendment, and that's, yeah, a lot easier than when I used to do this back in the day. But yeah. Okay, Brian, come back in.
Yep.
Could I just make a comment that that's about the cutest bunch of kids I ever saw on our screen here in Wainfleet? They're just all a bunch of darlings.
Yeah. I would argue that, because mine used to be in here, and yours.
All right, thank you, Councilor Van Fleet.
Better
So-
keep your mouth shut than start a fight.
Behave yourselves. Oh. All right, we're moving into bylaws. I have a motion that the following bylaws be read and passed this 18th day of March 2025. Bylaw number 6, 2025, being a bylaw to appoint a clerk for the corporation of the Township of Wainfleet. Bylaw number 7, 2025, being a bylaw to appoint a deputy clerk for the corporation of the Township of Wainfleet. And bylaw number 8, 2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2022-2023, being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of the Township of Wainfleet Council, the conduct of its members, and the calling of its meetings. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor McCollum, Councilor Van Fleet. Any discussion? Councilor Van Fleet, go ahead.
I just want to congratulate Amber on becoming our clerk.
Not there yet.
She's almost there.
Clock died. Since we started.